Hello, welcome back to Tabletop Nights. I'm Greg. Today we are playing Wyrmspan. We're going to do the Automa solo game, just so you can see how it differs to the main game. Some people have said this game is a bit more complex than Wingspan. It isn't. I think it's actually more streamlined. So this is designed by the fabulous Connie Vogelman with art by Clementine Camperdoux, based on the original design by Elizabeth Hargrave, who obviously helped bring this one together. So I'm just going to pop that over to the side. And we'll take a quick look at the board. I am playing with the neoprene mat because it's but it's also less reflective for the camera, so that's handy. Basically, the setup's exactly the same as if you were just playing a two-player game. In fact, you could include the Automa in other player counts if you wanted to, just to have an extra challenge. But we do have an extra deck, the Automa deck here. Which I've set up to Ravel level 3, but I'll get into that in just a second. You still have the guild board turned to the 2-3 player side. I've just randomly picked these sections here. You'll notice a cube here. That's the yellow is my opponent. That's the Automa. And then we have 3 dragons and 3 caves. At the end of each round, I'll get another one of these cubes for the Automa to be able to use on the Dragon Guild board. The other one is sitting here, waiting to be used. As usual, I will grab 3 dragon cards and 3 cave cards, and I have to discard 2 cards. Of course, like in the normal game, you will probably try and pick cards that you think you might have resources for early, based on your cave cards and what's going on up here. So a quick look at the round tracker board. Dragons and cave cards in my Crimson Cavern. So Crimson's the top one. Small dragons on your player mat at the end of round 2. Large dragons on the player mat. Dragons with the Explorer icon on your player mat. Now when you're playing with the Automa, they get these values here based on the round. So I'll just bring this one over here so you can have a quick squiz. How's that? Close enough, Victor?
Yep.
You'll see the little Automa head here. So round 1, they've basically already got 1 dragon in their Crimson Cave. Throughout the round on these Automa cards, coins will get added to this, which will increase or decrease how many dragons they have. So I've got to keep an eye on that. As per the normal game and in Wingspan, you're probably not going to achieve all of these. But keep your eye on it and maybe work towards that. The guild board here, they're going to be spinning around here a lot faster than I will be. But I'm not so worried about this board. I don't think this brings a terrible amount of strategy into scoring, because obviously each dragon that the Automa takes is worth 7 or 8 points depending on the difficulty you're playing. We're going to play it with 8 points, make it as hard as we can, but we're only just going to show you a couple of rounds just so you get the flavour and the feel for how the game works. Alright, so the main difference with the scoring is that, and if you know this solo scoring, but if they all score points based on how well they achieve here. Each dragon is going to be worth 8 points. Each cave card will be worth 2 points. They'll also get points for end game scoring over here. So when you play the easier mode, they'll just block these VP sections, but in this version, they'll actually score them. Also, how far they've gone past a brown spot's worth a point. Well, that many points. So there's a few random elements in there, but the key thing is, don't let them get too many dragons if you can avoid it. And you try and finish on top here. And if you get plenty of dragons and eggs and tucked cards here, you'll do okay. So looking at my cave cards, which I'm happy to just stick out here for the moment. This one says caching, which is where you store tokens on your board. This one says gain. So I'm definitely going to keep a gain one because I want some resources. These 2 cards are essentially the same. So I'm going to chuck one of those. And I will keep, so we want Crimson Cave. So this is the only dragon at the moment that can go in my Crimson Cave, and you can tell by these markers on the side here, this can go in the top cave, Crimson Cave, or in the Golden Grotto. It can't go in the bottom section. So this is a good one to try and achieve this goal here. The other ones, I'm just going to pick probably the easiest 1 for now. And again, you can pick any combination of cards. You can keep them as long as you only keep 4 cards. So they're the 4 I'm going to keep. When you're playing against the Automa, you are always the first player every round, which is different to the standard game. So at the start of the game, you also get to take 3 resources of any type that suits you. So you would normally look at your dragon cards in your hand and pick something relevant. So I'm going to take a meat, a crystal, and a gold. The reason I'm not taking milk is because there's no hatchlings out there at the moment, and they're the only ones that use them. I have picked the 8 Ravel cards that are based on the hardest difficulty. Just show you there. So the cards are very easy to figure out. You can see it's got the numbers on the bottom there. So that tells you what you need. So there you go. And it tells you at the bottom here, dragons are worth 7, but I'm going to make them 8. I'm going to make it super hard. Cave cards, steps beyond the brown space, which I said, VP from public objectives, and VP from markers on the Dragon Guild for fixed VP benefits only. I'll shuffle these up. See, there's always 8 cards, but you'll always chuck one away without seeing it. I might just move this over slightly so I can put the first card here, and we can all see it. There you go. That's what's going to happen. I won't look at that yet though, because I have to get my 6 coins, which are essentially it's like worker placement. You'll have 6 coins. I played a game on the weekend. In my last turn, I had 10 in the end, because I was able to get my actions pumping. And I get 1 egg, which I can store here. You'll notice on the neoprene mat that these 2 are in the reverse position. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they've done. Alright, so for my first turn. Now when you're excavating caves, they've got different artwork, which looks like it matches what's on the board here, but they can actually go in any cave. They don't have to go specifically in one row. Your first cave is always excavated for you. So when you place your next one, it has to go in the next right or leftmost spot that's available. So I could put it there, there, or there. Because I want to try and build up this Crimson Cave, I'm actually going to excavate as my first turn. So I stick a coin on there, and it tells you on the board. You pay a coin plus what's printed on the column. There's nothing printed here. Once you get to here, it costs 1 egg extra, 2 eggs extra. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to play this little cave here, and I gain 1 meat. I'm also playing with the upgraded tokens. They're just cardboard ones in the game, but you get these funky sort of wooden ones if you get the upgrade, plus the metal coins. So I've got a meat there, and I get 1 dragon card. Now you can always take from the display or the top one here if you don't like what's going there. So I can see next round is small dragons. This one will cost me a coin to take. This one will cost me 2 meat. Not to take, but to actually play. I think I'm going to take this shy dragon here and add that to my hand. These don't get replaced until your turn ends, but basically this is the end of my turn anyway, so we'll just put a new one down there. That was my turn. Now it's over to the Automa. Now just quickly on this card, we'll get a close-up. This symbol here says if the deck is empty, so it's basically the last card that you've drawn, then the Automa will pass. Otherwise, if this symbol's not there, they will do all these actions. But every other time, they will do all those actions. So this is saying now, add a coin to the current round. Which we'll do. Take that from here. So this is now telling me that the Automa has 2 dragons in their Crimson Cave. Currently I have 0. And you can't plant a dragon until there's a cave there to put it in. So that's not great. This now says in round 1, their guild marker will move 2 spaces. So they'll go 1, 2. They don't gain any resources here, but every time they pass these brown spots, they'll lay markers here, blocking me from doing other things. And when you're playing hardcore, they'll also score the points if they take these bottom ones. There is a counting mechanism, so you'll quickly again on this card. If they did now land on a brown brown space, they would take one dragon card from the display, and in this case they would take the first one, so this one here, and they would grab a cave card, so that would be 10 points. They'd be up straight away. There is another symbol which appears here which also says place a marker, but we'll do that when they turn up. Alright, for my second turn, I'm going to use the entice action. So I pay a coin here plus what's printed on the dragon. And I'm going to use the hoarding flyer, which requires 1 meat and 1 gold. So I pay that back into the pool. And I get to place it here. It can only go in this cave or this cave. It can't go down the bottom here. But of course I want to fill up the Crimson Cave to try and compete for this first objective here. That's my turn. Back to the Automa. They're going to add another coin to here. So they've now got 3 dragons here. I only have 1. So it looks like I'm going to lose this objective. But if you don't have at least 1, you can't score any points. In this case, I'm still going to get at least 1 point. Woo! Alright. The Automa then also, its guild marker will move as far as my most excavated cave plus 1. So I have 2 plus 1 is 3. So this will move 1, 2, 3. It hasn't passed a brown space yet, so we don't need to do that. Back to me. Whatever shall I do, Victor? By the way, Victor's producing for me. Thanks, Victor.
I'm off camera.
He's off camera because he hasn't done his hair yet.
Yeah.
Right. What I might do is just show you how the explore action works. So you can explore in any of your caves. The first time you explore in a cave, it costs you a coin. Second time, a coin and an egg. Third time, a coin and 2 eggs. So you can explore 3 different caves and it's 1 coin each. So I'm going to explore this cave because this is where I have the most stuff. So I take my little explorer from base camp and I stick him where the explorer is. This is then gain 1 resource of any type. So I'm going to take a gold. Why, you say? I'll tell you in a second. I now keep moving across. There happens to be an explorer guy here as well. So this says gain another gold. When I get to here, I can move my guild marker, which has disappeared from the start, 1 space, which gives me an egg. Eggs can be laid on any dragons or on your storage area. I tend to put them on the dragons first because once this is filled up, you can't actually put them there anymore. Then you have to put them on dragons. And then he can't go any further because he's run into a stop sign. So then he just goes back to base camp. And that's the end of that turn. Back over to the Automa. Okay, in this case it says take a coin off. Okay, which is good. That's helpful. I'm only 1 behind now. For this round, now it will move 2 steps. So we move it 1, 2. It has passed a brown space. So they basically get 1 dragon and 1 cave card. They will take the first one because of the number 1 and the first one. So that's 10 points to the Automa. I'll just pop them over here so we can keep count. And at the end of their turn, replace those. Back to me. So it's pretty straightforward. Right, I really need to get another dragon out there. This is not great. You can also, this little spot here just means you can convert any 2 resources into 1 other resource at the end of, at any time. Oh, I probably should have done this differently instead of taking the gold, but that's okay. We have to put up with it now. I'm going to explore again. May not be the best move, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to explore up here again. So this time will cost me a coin and an egg. So I'll just put that egg there to remind me. So I go here, I can gain any resource. I'm going to gain a meat. Go here, I can gain a gold. Go here, I move there. It gives me another meat. You can never have more than 9 resources, 9 dragon cards and 9 cavern cards. So he goes back there. Automa's turn. Super quick to play and easy to do. This says refresh all the dragon cards. I'll just show you that symbol there. So just refresh all the dragon cards. So they go. And they will get replaced. But also now move as far as the most excavated cavern, which is 2. So that will move 2. And it didn't pass a brown space this turn. This little symbol here, which I'll show while we can, means if it did pass a brown space, it would then add a marker to the Plains Guild over here, and you would count from the top down. So you basically go 1, 2, 3, and you would put a marker there. That's them. No coin change there, and we'll refresh the cards. Right, I'm now going to lay another dragon. I'm going to entice another dragon. So again, I put that on there, and I pay the cost printed on my dragon, which is 2 meat and a gold. So it means now if I explore this one, my explorer will go here, 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 and then all the way over to here as well, until it meets a stop sign. Alright, that's looking pretty good. There are other symbols on these cards. I'll go over some of those in just a minute. Let's do the Automa again. Take a coin off. Ho, ho, ho! So the Automa's now only got 1 dragon. I've got 2 in the Crimson Cavern. Take that. But you know what the next one's going to be. It's just going to put 1 back again, but that's okay. They'll move 1 space because it's round 1, move 1 space. Didn't hit a brown space, so that's the end of their turn. Back to me. Oh, I wouldn't mind trying to get this one down. Even another... So if I look over here, this is the only one that can go in the Crimson Cavern. And that will cost a coin and a meat, which I've only got 1 coin left. So unless I can find another way of getting another coin this turn, that's not going to happen. I can't explore here anymore because it will cost 2 eggs. I only have 1. So, bad luck. I could do some caching. What I will do, I probably will do that. So I'm going to excavate just to show you how that bit works. So I'm going to put another cave down. And I'm going to put this one down at the bottom here. And this says you can cache any 2 resources from the general supply onto any dragon. So not from my supply, from the general supply. So basically you can just take, they're worth a point each, but some dragons will say if you've put 3 meat on this at the end of the game, you'll get extra points, etc. Right now I don't have any of those special dragons, but I'll just put a milk and a crystal out just to, that's what caching is, just storing them on here. You can never take them off there unless there's an ability on the card itself that says you could spend it. So that's my 6 turns. The Automa goes again. This says refresh all the cards, which I'll do. The thing is, they're going to get refreshed anyway because at the end of the round. So you can choose whether you want to do that or not. Add a coin. So it's back to 2 dragons. And now it says round 1, move 1 step. Which it has, still hasn't hit a brown space. So I have to pass because I can't do anything else. So then the Automa will go again. It doesn't have the pass icon, so it will do this. If it had that pass icon, it would have stopped immediately. That's unfortunate. So this will move 1. Because it's round 1, move 1 space. Now it says... if it's a brown space, which it is, or it's past a brown space, it will take the 3rd dragon. So now I will need to refresh. So it basically takes the 3rd dragon, which adds to its pile. So now it's currently on 22 points. And then it says count down 3 from the top where there's available spaces. So 1, 2, 3. They don't get anything from that, but they just block me from getting it later on. Alright, so at the end of the round is the upkeep phase. And essentially that says, so this would have been replaced And if you follow here, it says refresh all the cards. So all the dragons go. 1, 2, 3. Put 3 new ones out. The cave cards go. 1, 2, 3. Then you basically you take all the coins and eggs that you've spent, because sometimes you'll have more than 6, so you would take them off. That comes off as well, but you would get those back. So at the start of your turn, you're going to get 6 coins and an egg. So even though that seems a bit silly, it's best to get rid of them all, then take them back, otherwise you forget. So for scoring for end of round 1, the Automa has a coin plus a 1, so they have 2 dragons. I have 2 dragons, so we tied for first place. So we both get 4 points, which is handy. If I'd come second, I would have been there. If you didn't have any dragons in the Crimson Cavern, you have to get 0. You can't come second if you have nothing. Alright, so we can clean that off now. That's all refreshed. We've replaced the cards. And now we take this token here, because that's now available for the Automa to use on the guild board. So we'll just go through a few more things in round 2, and then I'll show you sort of how the end of game scoring works. It's still me, I'm first player. I've only got 1 dragon card, so I'm going to have to get a move on here. But now the common objective is small dragons on the player mat. I have 1, they have 0. This has a 0 on it, so that's handy. So I should keep an eye out for small dragons, of which there are none. Hatchlings don't count as small dragons. It needs to actually say small. I don't know how a small dragon has 3 little eggs it can keep there, but that's okay. Right. What will I do first? I think I'm going to explore. I'm going to explore this cavern. So here says gain any resource. I will gain I'm going to gain a milk. Go here, I gain a gold. Go here, I move 1 step here. I can pick a dragon. I'm going to take this large dragon. Go here, gain any resource. So I will gain a crystal. And then back to base camp. Now with the Automa, you take your 8 cards again, shuffle them up, put 1 aside, and then go again. So this says take a coin off. There are no coins, so we don't do anything. It's round 2. They'll move 1 space. They haven't just passed a brown space because I did that on the last turn. I will now... I will spend a coin to entice. Then I have to pay the cost on the dragon, which is a coin, unfortunately. But I'm going to put that one here. Oh, yeah, I can put him there. This one says, so if you see the little flag on the cards, that means it's done at end of game. Pretty straightforward. And this is if this dragon's column is full, so if I can put another one here, it's worth 3 extra points, and it's already worth 5. So you can start to build up your points pretty quickly. Let's do the Automa. Refresh the dragon card. So I've put 1 back at the end of my turn. Refresh. 1, 2, 3. I was saving up for a hatchling, but that's not going to happen now. Add a coin. So they now have 2 small dragons on their... sorry, 1 small dragon on their player mat. And I need to move that one there. And we haven't just passed a brown space, so we don't need to do anything else there. I need some caves. I'm going to get into some caving here. The only way to really get caves other than cards is by exploring down the bottom here. So that's why sometimes you want to get a dragon here earlier. But I'm going to have to explore. He goes here. I can grab any cave. So I'm going to grab... take that one. And basically he can't go any further. So that Seems like a very short turn, and sometimes it just is. Back to the Automa. Round 2, so this moves 2 spaces. 1, 2. Didn't pass anything, no coins. Back to me. I will excavate. So if I play that there, I gain 1 meat and 1 crystal. I've got heaps of resources here. Remember, you can cash them in for 2 of them in for a different resource. Back to the Automa. It will move 2 spaces. It has hit a brown space. So it's going to take the 3rd dragon, which adds to its pile. And then we count 3. 1, 2, 3. So just note that once you've used the one for the round, they can't gain that again, because these ones only come into play later on as you get through each round. All right, back to me. I will entice a dragon. So I've paid a coin. I now need to pay 2 gold and a crystal. And this one has to go into the middle. I've got room there. Sometimes these will activate as they get covered. These will activate, do all sorts of things. This one here says, we'll do a close-up. Let's do a close-up. As I lay this down, I'm going to get 2 guild movements, and my opponent will gain 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, giving me a crystal, and they will gain 1. And again, that's the end of my turn, but they've still got heaps of cards left, so I spent coins, basically, which is a worry when this happens. So Automa goes again. Add a coin. So they're currently on 3 small dragons. I might have said earlier that this only had 0, but they actually had 1 because it's round 2. So you have to go by the next number. So they currently have 3 small dragons. They will move 2 spaces. 1, 2. Again, they don't get these benefits. Didn't pass a brown space. Next turn, I've still passed. They'll get another coin. So they're now on 4 small dragons. So I'm well behind. And this will move 3 spaces. So the most excavated plus 1. 1, 2, 3. Puts them there. They don't have another marker to place because they haven't actually received one yet. So that won't happen. So just to clarify, they'll still take dragons if you hit a brown space. They'll take cave cards. But the movement of the marker only happens if they have one available. So they only become available at the end of each round. So in this case, we've got to take out the 2nd dragon and the 2nd cave card. We replace them because they've still got a turn. We now do the last Automa card. It says pass automatically, so they don't do that one. That's it. That's the 2nd round. So you'll keep doing this backwards and forwards until you get to the end of the game, and then you'll be adding up all your scores, obviously. In this case, they've won this one. So they'll get 1st place. I had a small dragon, so I still get the 2nd place, which is good, thankfully. So at the end of the game, we'd add up any scores. So, for example, I might have 6 points from here. I may have the points printed on my dragons. There's end game ones. So this one will say gain 3 extra if this dragon's column is full. So if I'd filled this one, there's an extra 3 points. Each egg is worth a point. Any tucked cards. So whenever it allows you to tuck, so for example, this card here says you can tuck cards from your hand here. So tuck means you would take it out of your hand and you'd stick it face down under there. They're worth 1 point each. Never worth the points that are on the front, but 1 point each underneath. Then any cached resources, they're worth 1 point each. Public objectives, so what you achieved up here. 1 victory point for any coins you might happen to have left. Very unusual that you haven't spent any coins. And for every resource, cavern card or dragon card, you can get a victory point as well. For the Automa, they will get the points up here, plus basically, in this case, 7 or 8 points for every 7 or 8 points for every dragon card they collected along the way by stealing them from the display. 2 points for every cavern card. Each step beyond the last brown space visited. So if they were here, they'd get 2 more points. And then VP markers that they may have also put in this section here. So that's kind of how the end game scoring works. It's fairly straightforward. I think it's actually easier to play than Wyrmspan, because it's not moving this marker back and sort of doing things right to left. It's just your little explorer going out, finding the other explorer markers, and going from there. Pretty cool game. Really nice to play. The cards are beautiful. Great design. Love the neoprene mat. Hopefully that made sense to you. If I rushed a few things, sorry about that. If I made any mistakes, please let us know in the comments. If you'd like Victor and I to play this, because this is the kind of game I could probably smash Victor at, I reckon. Let us know in the comments. Please consider subscribing and give it a good like if you enjoyed the content. Hopefully we get a few good views, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Do you have any subscriptions to the Tabletop Nights?
Oh, I guess you could subscribe there and watch another video down here.